Hi, I'm Rachel Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me is our resident bona fide bestie, Jaki Black. Thank you for joining us on another fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent
Spellbound with Black.
and Whitefield.
All right, Rachel. What first of all, we have a guest. So let's introduce our guest.
Yes, let's do that. With me, or with us today, but with me in person, is our very good friend, Casey. And as our long-term listeners know, hello everyone. Jaki and I have known each other since freshman year of high school when we were like 14, right?
13,
Casey,
14,
Casey and I have known each other. You moved to town in sixth grade.
Yep.
So we've known each other since we were what, 11?
Yeah, I think
11,
11.
12? Yeah. So like we go back even farther.
Mhm.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I always say Casey is not my best friend, but she is one of my longest friends.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You guys have known each other forever. Through puberty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit. Through all the ups and downs
All of it.
puberty.
Casey has seen me through, I say I have different lives. Like I have my life in Phoenix, I have my pre-Navy life, I have my nail life, and I was a nail tech, like my NASA life. Like she's known me through all my lives.
I was your first manicure and pedicure.
She was my
and
first nail
high school.
client. Mhm.
Oh, I love that.
We will get into that well into the podcast because we are going to be talking about making friends as an adult today.
Oh, yes.
But before that, we got to get to the whiskey.
Yeah, I'm still drinking Jack Daniels because this show was impromptu.
It is impromptu. We are ready. But I have a little twist today. I'm drinking a new whiskey today. Bought right here in Colorado from Elevation 5003 Distillery Straight Bourbon Whiskey Small Batch, distilled and bottled by Elevation 5003 Distillery in Fort Collins, Colorado. So I know we're like hometown heroes right here. I'm not from Fort Collins, but I'm going to say that for any Colorado whiskey we have. Ooh. Okay, pop that cork. And Case, it's an impromptu show, Jaki. Oh, you have refrigerator ice, I bet, but
I have the big squares. I have the big squares with gold. The 24 karat gold. And I got these. I still have my look how cute these
bottles, right?
Little
I'm still
Keep 'em
today
keepers.
rocking the very large squares, cubes, ice molds with fancy sprinkles like rose gold shimmer powder.
Yes.
And my
Luster
glasses, yes, a luster powder. So, Casey, you're a guest. I'm gonna pour you yours first, right over the ice, and then we're just gonna see how that shimmer goes. And then
I'm mixing ginger ale with mine today because I have a big tall glass.
mm-hmm.
Look how pretty. Stop. Look how pretty that is.
Ooh, I can see all the shimmer.
I know this whiskey's right out of the freezer, so it's just like it's that slow pour. You've got the Tennessee honey, but I was like, oh, ours is pouring like honey today.
Yeah.
So yes, Clinkies, my friends.
Clinkies.
Clinkies down the house.
So what are we talking about? Since our friend is here, what are we talking about?
We're talking about what it's like to, Casey and I have had some time to catch up on our friendiversary. Our renaissance.
Yes.
Yeah, not that we needed a renaissance, but like we just needed to see each other.
Annual check-in.
Yes. Yeah, so it was just more of she had said to me, Rachel, you have such an amazing personality, which I do. But she was like, you must make friends so easily. And I was thinking like, actually, Jaki and you and I had talked about this before of like, oh, I actually think it's almost harder for me to make friends as an adult because you guys have kids. So you're around other adults your age all the time. It must be so easy for you guys to make friends all the time.
Mm-mm.
And we have learned that has not exactly been the case. So we're just talking about making friends as an adult and as a single child-free woman, like the challenges that may come across or other challenges of like how I've made friends in the past,
Right.
So yeah, where do you want to start? Where do you want to start, Jacqueline?
I don't know.
Where do you land on the spectrum between Casey and myself?
So here's the thing. I feel Casey, you're polite. for making friends as a mom, because every time my children made friends, for some reason, the adults also wanted to like make friends with me, but I never clicked with them because I always felt very different from the adults that they were making friends with their children with. I that never worked out for me. One, I've been weird for my whole life. I'm weird. And I am not like a regular adult. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not regular. It's hard for me to make friends in that aspect. So there was no fucking way in hell that I was going to become friends with my kids' friends. Kids' friends' parents. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I've had a little bit more success as an adult, not like going through my kids to make friends, because like now I'm I'm in a town where I knew nobody when I got here. And it actually took me about 6 months to make my very first friend here, and a year to make my second friend. So it's been really, really tough because there's really not a lot of opportunity to like chat and like exchange phone numbers and stuff. At one point I used Facebook dating. They have a friends side, and that's how I made my first friend. But then we went through a friend breakup.
Yeah.
That was dramatic. We talked about that. And then my second friend I met in a bar. So we just getting drunk. Now we're friends.
Yeah.
You know, but you have a different experience. You met your friend through like a mutual activity that you like.
You're talking to
Dr. Bestie. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go through some experience, my personal experiences as like a child-free woman, and looking from the outside into both of you. I was like, oh, it must be so easy for you. Like, I didn't identify that you might have a plight. It might be challenging for you. I was like, you have such a well to pull from that you get to choose who you do and don't want to be friends with. Your faces both. I'm so sorry. But that's just what I thought it was like. So, you know, and like as a child-free woman, it's like, you know, Casey, you have your own family unit that you have made. Like my sister has her own family unit. You, Jackie, when you're married, you had your own family unit. Like I don't have my own, I have my family, but I don't have my own family unit. So I really thrive, and I'll say till the day I die, like on my friendships, my female friendships, especially. And so I was like, that is my chosen and designed family unit, you know? So it's like my strength comes from my friendships and like, and the replenishment that gives me in that social circle of very supportive people around me. And so it's like, gosh, if I don't have that, like the part of my soul is dying on the vine, you know? And so, I remember when, I was still married to the Limey, and we had just moved to Washington State, and it was like, we had moved out of Phoenix. I missed all my friends. Then we had moved to San Diego where, you know, Casey is. So it's like, I had kind of, and you introduced me to our friend group there, which we're still very good friends with. So it's like, I had kind of friends friends through your friends, you know, intact wherever I went. And then we moved to Washington State, and I know no one. And then my husband is like out to sea, you know, kind of thing. So now I'm stuck in this place where I don't know anybody. And like, I didn't have a job at the time, and that was okay. But it was just like, I would go to the gym, and it's like, okay, how do I make friends? And I didn't really, because I didn't have children, I didn't identify with like the Navy wives a lot. You know, let me try.
Oh yeah, they were just spitting them out, I bet.
Yeah. And I was like, again, I can't talk about kids. I don't know how anything identify with that. So like, I remember I was at the 24-hour fitness in Everett, Washington, and I would go to spin classes. And there was this girl that I kept seeing, like younger than me, but I was still like in my mid-20s at latest, you know? And I was just like, oh, like, you like spinning class, I like spinning class. And you kind of, I just feel like you get like energy from people, you know, like, oh, like we would kick.
Yeah.
And we exchanged numbers, but we never did anything. But I was like, yeah, we can go to spin class. And maybe I just kind of came on a little too strong to be like, I remember her name. Her name is Katie, like to this day. But then I was like, oh my gosh, does she not go to spin class anymore? Because I am like, but it's like you almost come on
Like,
a little
be
too
my
strong
friend.
because you're
Mhm.
so not, I don't want to desperate, but like kind of over like you're so hungry for this interaction that people might be like, oh my God, you're a little weird and stuff. And again, like I was in my mid to late 20s at that point where it's like, you're still worry if like you have anxiety if that like do people like me, do people not like we're in our 40s now, we can just be like fuck off, it doesn't have to do with you, it doesn't have anything to do with me, whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe she was just like busy or our schedules didn't happen, but it was just like, or was she just being nice and like blowing me off, but
Ugh,
it was
that's
just
the
like,
worst feeling. That's
but I was
happened
like,
to me before.
I was so
Me too.
excited. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to make a friend, and we're going to hang out. And I really like latch on to the like friendships of just like,
Yeah.
are you free? I'm free. Let's just hang out all the time. So I believe it or not, I do understand that I can be a little overpowering at times, but
Not Rachel.
never. But again, like you were saying, like my when I say my besties, it's like you got your bestie, she's a bestie. Bestie is a tier level.
Agreed.
It is you have reached
yeah.
the level, right?
Mhm.
But like my bestie here, Dr. Bestie, it's like we met through when I was swimming with the master's program, which
Yeah.
is a swim program for like adults who want to stay active. So we shared a lane because we're the slow people. And I
I
was
remember being in those lanes in high
yeah,
school.
and because I was new
Those were
and I
my
was there
lanes, too.
early, that I had kind of gotten in her lane. So she was just like, oh, like, was this person want to they're new? They're giving me like a wide berth for like this new girl on the team. And then I just kind of pop up because now I'm all alone in my little slow lane, and I pop up and I said, do you want to share a lane with me? And she's like, yeah, I do.
Cute.
She's like, yeah, I do. Because it was like, I didn't want to kick her out of like where she swam, So I
You
was like,
literally looked at her and you said, do you want to play mermaids?
yeah.
Literally.
You want to,
Like,
just
the adult version of that.
yeah. Do you want to share a
Yes.
lane with me? So like, I felt like such an asshole to be like, I'm inviting her back into her own space that now I have like taken over, and then we're kind of the same speed and stuff. So it was just really nice that it's like, oh, I'm not this like slow, lame person on this team, because there's
Yeah.
very excellent swimmers on that team. And so it was like, she made me feel so like safe by just being herself in that. And then we were having a wine night at my apartment with my roommate at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm going to invite her. Like, because again, it's like, we're practically strangers. There's not a lot of time to talk at swim practice. We're just doing the same thing,
Trying not to drown.
Yeah, and exactly. And so then,
that'd be me. Just try not to drown.
I invited her over for like wine night. And if you both been to my home, I am the ultimate hostess always. Like, you will never see the bottom of your glass, no matter what you're drinking, water or adult spirit, until you tell me you've had enough. You'll always have more coffee. You will always have more wine. You will always have until you tell me she's had enough. So I accidentally got her drunk.
Accidentally on purpose?
Yeah, but I was like, oh, you have more. She's like,
you guys had a great night.
A great wine night, a great girl wine night, because the neighbors were over. It was fantastic. And I was fine. So then it was, so I was like, oh, we're like the same size. Like, I've got pajamas for you here. Don't you worry. Like, I got a king size bed. Then we had a sleepover.
That's awesome.
And at that point, she was like, and again, anyone who swims, you have goggle like eyes. You have a cap on. It is not a glamorous sport.
No,
it's not a glamorous sport.
Not.
And so when she comes over, she has these cute little cheetah print kitten heel booties.
Ooh.
Like, she's so cute. And she's like, okay, girl, didn't know that was going on. I was like, me neither. And then we were
I love that.
We just loved it. And so after that, and then like the next morning, I was like, can I make you breakfast? Like, what do you need? Because we're all a little kind of nursing hangovers at that point. And then we were just like friends from then on out. And so and she's so supportive and she's so wonderful. And when I said I want to swim the Strait of Gibraltar, she didn't laugh at me. She's like, all right, how do we do it? She was my kayaker for my big 6 mile swim last year. Like, she is very supportive in my life. I'm like, oh my God, I don't do master swimming anymore, but I was like, I'm so grateful that it was like through something that I loved, I made a social network out of it. And then I also have like acquaintances through that club that I still know that we run into each other at the pool and say hi, so it's like you start to like build this kind of community through these activities that you
Yeah.
have. So even though the first one was like a dud trying to find a friend at the gym, the second one, but she had also moved here like 6 months prior. So she also like was looking for community and friends.
Yeah.
We even have a song.
Jeez.
It's You Changed Me for Good from
Aw.
Wicked. I know she's
Oh
so
my
cool,
God.
isn't she?
Elphaba and Galinda.
Yeah,
With the
and
guh.
then we go out, like we have our friend anniversary. We call our friend anniversary
Yeah,
is like
I
that
know.
night of the wine night. And so we like, oh yeah, we just had a friend anniversary. So like I brought flowers, I got
Yeah.
her a card, I got her a little
Aw.
gift. Like I was like, let me tell you, no
It's a
man,
date.
it's a date. It's a date for your friend, And I was just like, it's a friend anniversary. And we celebrate our friendship.
Yeah.
And and she tells me she's so proud of me for like my accomplishments, but I was like, I can swim that because of the way you support me. And it's like there's no competition. And now that we're both dating other people, it's like, okay, let's make time to see each other. Like we
Yeah.
make time for each other. And that's fairly wonderful as well. So it's like
Yeah.
it's not, to me, I just felt like, again, I realize now from listening to your stories, it's not as easy to find friends as an adult, even if you have a well of
It's
adult
not
support.
a well, Rachel.
I would think
It's like
so.
it's like a
to it.
rain puddle.
You're right. I'm sorry.
It's a rain
But
puddle in a
that's just
pothole.
how it was in my mind. I was like, you have all these kids and you get to choose which ones you want to be friends with, So,
No.
but now,
Because my kids are friends with weird kids, and their parents are not the cool weird.
yeah,
Not like me.
yeah.
Like I'm the cool version of weird. They're
Mhm.
like the weird version of weird, where I'm just like, you're boring.
Yeah, because Casey, let's talk about your situation right now.
Yeah, so for me, I have a hard time because I feel like it's very cliquey. So like I've always struggled. I'm kind of the extroverted introvert where I'm very comfortable in group settings, but like the one-on-one, I become very socially awkward because that's just how I've always been. I'd rather be at home reading a book, but I always like double, like, did I say something weird? And then I feel like I'm coming on too strong because I'm like, I really want to be friends with moms, but because they're kind of going through life at the same point that I am. And like, you kind of want somebody to kind of connect with you on that level. So you have somebody that you can kind of confide in when you're having, your kids are being a-holes, and you just kind of want an outlet outside of your family unit that kind of just understands what you're going through as a mom, not a husband and wife, but as a mom. And so you think that I like when my daughter was in kindergarten, I was a stay-at-home mom. So I was able to kind of do like play dates after school and kind of did something a little bit more. Yeah, I was a little bit more active and we got to line up with our kids. So I got to talk with them in the mornings before our kids went to school. I talked to them with that pickup. And I kind of felt like I was fostering those friendships and kind of making those, but then the friends became best friends with other kids. And then you're kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'm not really like making friends with these people. I'm just more of like an acquaintance with these. And you could just kind of try, but it's really hard. Moms are cliquey. You got the moms that grew up together that now have kids, and those kids are best
Yeah.
friends. They're with them. And then I feel like the moms that have kids that are best friends feel like they have to be best friends. And so if your kid is just a friend and not a best friend, you don't get to
Yeah.
be in that group. And it's kind of like disappointing because for me, I just want to be, I want like that female friendship. And I almost feel like it's not going to happen. Like like I said, I'm socially awkward when it's a one-on-one situation. And I feel like that maybe turns people off because maybe I talk too much or I don't ask the right questions, or then they think that I'm weird and they're like, I don't want to be friends with her. So I find that like, it's super, super cliquey and super hard to just kind of break into any mom group. And especially when you're like a working parent too, when you don't have that flexibility to just have a play date after school, you kind of get left out of that circle because you don't have the same time frame that they have. And it's like your life is different. Like you work an 8 to 5, and when your kids are in sports, and then that's a whole new ball game trying to make friends with sports moms, because that's in and of itself is like a complete disaster.
No.
I'm not into the politicking. I'm just there for my kid to have a good time. I'm not going to I don't like drama. So then I'm like, I don't want to be friends with the people that are creating the drama, but then they're the ones that talk to you, but you're like, oh, I don't want to be friends with the person that's, stirring the pot all the time. So it's, you really don't have a lot to work with as a mom. And I feel like it just kind of, I almost think like in a way, your kids kind of hold you back from making normal friends, that's just how I feel about it. But it's not a fun situation to make friends as a grown up.
It's really, really not. I have so much to say about that because one of the friend, remember how I said the second friend that I made here that I met in the bar, literally a mom of a 4-year-old child. So, and I just love her. So I think what the best part of it is that she sort of looks at me like, I can get there. I can get to where you are. And she asks me for advice and she listens to my advice and she appreciates like, I'm like, yeah, bring your kid. Like, let's go do something during the day. You might want to look for somebody who's older, who's got kids that are more independent or even out of the house. Like that might be something that you could look towards. Do you make friends at work, like in your workspaces?
I do have like a really good friend from a previous job, but she is like Rachel, where her and her husband, they chose not to have children. They have a dog. And she's works from home now. She's got her own life. And for me, I can't like just drop everything. So I have tried with like the women that have older kids or even the women that don't have kids at all, because I'm like, okay, well, you don't have anything holding you back from being friends or doing, XYZ. But then they don't want to be like a part of my schedule. Cause like, I'm not gonna not let my kid play softball because I want to have mom friends and be able to go do stuff after work. Like my kids are my priority. So having friends that don't understand that part of my life is what I'm struggling with, because, with our age group, women are either like you, where you have grown kids, some even have grandkids at this point, or you have people that are just now having babies. So we have such a wide span of people, but I feel like the ones that are really young don't understand what it's like to have a preteen daughter and going through all of that madness. And then I also have a 7-year-old. Well, she'll be 7 next Friday. So it's like, I have kids that have a 5-year age gap. So that in and of itself is a struggle because one doesn't want to do what the other one does. And then you throw in parents that aren't in that same life cycle part, that I'm in, and it just creates a whole new thing. And then you're like, you can't coordinate schedules. And then they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with the drama of a preteen. And it's just all over the place. And that's
tough. I've been there.
And one thing I noticed when we were talking on our hike today, when we were talking about this, I think I noticed, because it's like, we have been friends since we were 11, Jaki and I have been friends since we've all been friends since we were 14, but it's, I would say almost like you have a desire for like this interaction that we've had. You want that, but it's like, you're struggling to be able to like, you want that same intimacy in a friendship and caring and love and trust. And then you're just like, well, how do I build that with someone that has, not that they're flaky, but like they have very conflicting schedules with you. It's like, how can you build
lives? It's hard.
And it's just
especially
like,
if they're not as open. Like I said, my friend has a 4-year-old child and I'm just like, let's go do shit with him. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women our age, like who don't have kids, aren't really willing to go do that with the women who do have kids, which it sucks. It sucks. Cause like, if I was there, I've already been through the preteen girl stage. I'd be like, let's just take her to Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a simple solution, but like, it doesn't feel like women who are child free, like Rachel, who don't have kids in their lives, it doesn't seem like they're willing to just do the kid stuff, the mom shit. You know what I'm saying? I just wish more women were like that.
I will say that's really true, because I don't know what it's like to be around kids. So I'm also like, well, I want to hang out with you. Like, I remember when you had a baby, don't make me hold a baby. I've never held, I would not hold.
She did not want to hold my youngest when she was born. She's like, no, I'll like look at her from a distance.
Yeah. I was like, don't you bring, I do like, ooh, like
she came and visited more than I can say for some people. And she at least came and said hello and like met my youngest.
Here's the thing. I said, I am here to support my friend who just had a baby. I am not here to see your baby.
See,
But and I
Listen,
think everyone
it's
is
cute
about
over there.
yeah, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to see the baby." And you're like, "Well, I had a big hand in, bringing her into the world, but I was like, my attention was on you to make sure that you're okay." I was
Yeah.
like, "Everyone's here to hold that baby." I was like, "That baby's not going to be upset that I'm not holding her."
Yeah.
Like I'm here to make sure you're okay. I'm sure I'm here to like pour you a drink.
And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I have to admit, like, it's super appreciative because even though you have never like had, but like, I couldn't see my feet and you came over and painted my toenails for me.
Mhm.
And like, that's a true friend right there that will paint a pregnant woman's swollen ass feet so that her toenails are pretty when she delivers her baby in a couple of days. And I mean,
Yeah.
you can't hear.
Yes. Okay.
But
So sweet.
yeah, it was pretty amazing. So like, but that's the kind of friendship I'm looking for. But like I said, like I'm not a high maintenance friend. Like I'm not somebody that has to go out to eat and out to a bar, or I'm like, bring your kids over and hang out. Like, let's have a barbecue.
Yeah.
Let's hang out. We have a beautiful backyard that my husband like helped design, and we have like this beautiful gas fire pit. Like we can like, the kids can roast some marshmallows and like make some s'mores, and we can sit around and drink and just like relax. Like come over in your freaking pajamas. I don't care. I'm not high maintenance, but it's like finding somebody with that same energy that's just like, yeah, let's just come over and chill. Like, I don't care if your house is clean, like TikTok version, like beautiful house. Like, I just want to come over and hang out with you. And that's just where I struggle to find somebody with like that same kind of outlook on life. And that's not cliquey or like judgy. And that's like, I feel like with moms, that's like a big struggle because you have the moms that have like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a white SUV, but I'm not like the white.
Oh no,
SUV.
you're a white SUV mom?
I have a white SUV mom, but only because it was my dream car for years and I finally like was able to get it. But I don't have the white mom SUV mentality.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the moms, especially in the area that I live, have that keeping up with the Joneses, very judgmental kind of attitude. And I'm like, no, like they're stay-at-home moms, or they work very little or just volunteer as PTA moms. They don't understand what it's like to be a working mom with kids that are in sports, and let alone two different sports. Like we're multiple sports. Like both my kids play softball, they do jujitsu, they did in the summertime, we do swim team. Like we do a lot of stuff. And like
I'm tired for you, Casey.
I know we're busy, but having a mom that can like understand a busy schedule and just be like, you know what? Hey, it's Saturday morning. Let's just come over. Like, let's just all have breakfast at your house. Like, that's the kind of mom, like friend that I want. Like, I just want you to come over and hang out or go to your house. And I had a friend where I was trying to do that, and her husband was at a barbecue. And so I'm like, well, let me bring pizza over. Our kids can hang out and they can play, and we can hang out. And it was great, but like I don't get that same energy back. And so I'm at the point in my life where like I'm not going to invest if you're not going to invest back. So and I don't know. It's just it's a weird place in life.
It is. It is. When I was there, which it wasn't long ago, but when I was there, it was just like it almost felt like to me I didn't really need it until I met somebody who matched that energy, which was another younger mom. Honestly, I think tapping the resource of the younger moms might be something that you might have an option. Just like the moms that are just like got 4 and 5 year olds, because they really look to us older moms for advice, like away from their families. As far as like what their families are going to tell them, they want an outside voice. But I totally agree with you. Like it can be very, very cliquey. I think it's really important for us to have like spaces to feel really safe and really loved outside of like just our family unit. But it always felt like to me when my kids were that age, that it was just me and my husband, and that was my friend, and I didn't really need any other friends. And if I made them, then great. And like, don't get me wrong, like we made couple friends, but we were in the military. We were military. So like, I'm still friends with some of those wives. And it's just because of that time. It's just like we had something like similar to bond with. But when you're just out there and you don't have like a group setting, or you don't have something that provides like the opportunity to share the similarities, it's so hard to find somebody to like bond with, because you really want that sisterhood. I agree when Rachel said like we want what we have. Like, I'm able to connect with so many of our old classmates and just it feel like it was 2 weeks ago that we graduated.
Exactly.
You know, like we're from such a small town. I think that's such a significant impact in our ability to make friends because we're from such a small town that school, that class felt like a fucking family. It really did. Like if one of us, the minute we start dying, ladies, the minute we start dying, it's going to be like a domino effect. We're going to be like, oh my God, are we really this age? You know, like we have that connection with each other. There was 25 of us.
Yeah, 120, I think.
In our
Something
graduating
like,
class.
listen, our school was so small. We could fit all of our first and last names in the numbers 01 on the back of a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Which is shocking to people when I say that.
Yeah.
So like it really felt like a really tight-knit family, like community, and like going from that out into this big bad world. And you're not even that far from the valley, but like I'm across the country, so I've felt the differences in the way people make connections. I think that that's had such a big impact in the way I make friends. So I can see why you're like, I just want this. But every time I feel like I'm even remotely close to it, it feels like it's not real.
Exactly. I know. It feels like I'm like not like I'm trying to force it, but it's almost like because I want it that it doesn't feel authentic. Like I did make a really good friend when I worked at NASCO. We were sitting, and this is like now a mutual friend that came in the friend group, and we were just sitting at a retirement party. And I love books. I am a huge reader. I would rather read than do anything else. Usually, if I have my phone in my face, I'm usually reading a book on my Kindle app. So somebody had said something, and she joked about, well, what about the epilogue? And I'm like, you like books? And it was like immediate friendship, and it was so natural. But again, she's at a different place in her life. And then after we became really good friends, it kind of, dominoed out a little bit. And like another friend kind of came in, and then she brought a friend in, and then we brought Rachel in, and like we kind of became like this woman unit. But then I had my second baby, and anybody that has more than one child knows that you go from like one child where I used to bring Madison with me all the time to our friend's house, and she would color and hang out. But once you have two, it is a completely different ball game. And mine are 5 years apart. So it is totally like
chaos,
total chaos. And
wherever you go.
Yeah. And it's like one wants to play Barbies and one wants to play softball. And it's like, I feel like I have to bring my house with me everywhere I go to keep them both entertained. And it just made it impossible. So like, if I can't, I have to like schedule time, and people don't understand that. Like, I can't be like, you can't call me before, like, hey, you want to meet at the wine bar at 5? I'm like, no, I work till 5, and I have 2 kids to worry about. I have to talk with my husband and find out what his work schedule is going on. And, do we have
You're
sports?
like, I will see you May 14th, 2025.
Exactly.
Pencil me into the calendar.
People understand that we have to schedule things as parents. Like, you can't just like up and like, hey, let's hang out. Like, no, like we have stuff. And like I said, it's a different ballgame when you have kids. And I just feel like the mom friendship thing is just a lot harder.
Yeah.
And touching on something that we'd spoken about earlier, Casey, when you were like, oh, how many grade schools had you gone to?
I went to 8 schools before I was in 6th grade.
Yeah, so she moved around a lot.
Relatable.
You did Jaki as a military brat, right?
Yep.
And so
I was a divorced brat.
Yeah, and so you were really saying like, I want to make friends, like not what is in the popular group, but what's in the in group versus out group. Like safety is in the in group. So who do I need to be this person?
Exactly.
And then it kind of maybe, even though I know you don't like have anxiety, but it also brings up like feelings of anxiety of like, it is something I did. Am I not good enough for this group? Like, okay, like I want to be accepted. Like,
what did I say?
Who do I need
to
go
over every word you said
Yes.
in that conversation? And you're like, they hate me. I said something terrible. This is bad. I have no friends. Been there.
Well, and like I was telling Rachel, like when we were talking, like, a lot of people are like surprised that I'm very much an introverted person. Like, I like being at home on my couch in peace and quiet, reading a book. Like, I'm perfectly, give me a cup of coffee, a blanket, and a book, and I am good to go. But I do enjoy some socialization. And when I was younger, I was always the new kid until I got to Ben Hulse. I was the new kid on the block every year. So
The
I was,
FNG, the
yes,
resident FNG,
'Cause we
freaking
talked
new girl.
about it because you were so envious, Jackie, because you're like, everyone came up together.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. I felt like I was just like, everybody knows each other. Like everybody knew each other. Everybody had funny stories from being like at Ben Hall's at like what was the junior high?
Frank Wright.
Frank Wright. Yeah, everybody had stories about like being in those classes together. And I'm just over here like, I don't know, I was in San Diego when that happened. And I just felt like I wanted so badly to be a part of the family and never really felt like 100% until like the very end. And then I left.
Yeah. And see, for me, always being the new girl, like I had to learn to make friends, but like when I got to 6th grade, I was very fortunate that Kim was also the new girl.
Oh, the
See,
most outgoing, outspoken human being in the entire world.
and
At
I
that
love
point,
that girl with all my heart. She
I
like my new
love her.
no friend. Um, her and I met at like the pre-6th grade welcome party. I don't know if you guys remembered that, but in Miss Campbell's class, before 6th grade actually started, they had like a party the week before where you can come and meet the students and the parents. And that's where I met Kim. And her
Oh
and I
my
clicked
God.
immediately because both of us have that same weird personality. Like we joke now, like when we hang out and we have children, we're like, who let us have kids and let us be unsupervised and like
Why
raise
are we unsupervised
like,
right now?
Kim and I, our parents always joke that we could not be left unsupervised even as grownups because we're chaos together, but it's always been that way. But like, I was lucky that she was coming over from Faith Academy and was also the new girl at Ben Hall. So like we clicked being the new girls. And then, we met Rachel and Heather and everybody else that kind of came in and like took us into the fold. And then we were able to kind of go through like the crazy years of junior high and high school together. But yeah, it's like it's just, I don't know, like I want that same type of friendship as a grown up. I'm like, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like things just aren't authentic when you're an adult anymore. Like, I feel like
Everything's
everybody's
business.
just, well, and I think social media plays a lot of in that where like you feel like you have to keep up with the Joneses and you have to have the best house and the best this. And then you're like, okay, well, do they not want to hang out with me because I live in Lakeside versus Santee? Or like, so it's like you always kind of, you're always questioning what you did wrong. Like, why don't they want to be my friend? Or is it because my house is smaller? Is it because I don't have a pool? Is it
I
because I don't
think
drive the white
personally,
SUV?
I think it's because where you are. I think it's where you are. I think that mindset comes from specifically where you are. Everybody, and not like, I don't mean this in a negative way, but the West Coast is very much a keeping up with the Joneses vibe in California. It's one of the reasons why I left. It just felt like it wasn't authentic anymore. Everybody was no pores allowed in California. No pores, none. And if you are even remotely close to a pore, you feel like you have to keep up with everybody around you. And that's just not the reality of it. I think authenticity is so, so, so important. And I personally think that everybody around you, you might be questioning your own self, but I bet all the women around you are doing the exact same thing. The exact same thing because it's that environment.
But like the problem is how do you break through that and be like, look, I'm not judging you. I am not that person. Like I'm good with like
I got you.
The mom bun and like the leggings. I'm the only reason why I get dressed up for school drop off is because I go straight from school drop off to work, where I work for a board of directors and a general manager, and I have to be presentable. So that I otherwise I would be in leggings or sweatpants and like my hair in a bun. I just, so I'm not the keeping up with the Joneses, but I feel like maybe I appear that way.
Maybe unapologetic authenticity is how I've always gotten around it. Unapologetic. Just, this is who I am. You better be real too. I was at my friend Sarah's house the other day and she kept apologizing for her house. I was like, why are you apologizing to me? One, we're friends. I don't give a single fuck what your house looks like. In fact, would you like some help? Like, do you feel like you need some? Because I will give it to you, but I don't give a fuck how your house looks. Yeah. And two, like, go like maybe on your days off, maybe just go in your bun and leggings and just be unapologetically you, because you're fantastic. And I think everybody needs an example of that unapologetic authenticity. And I'm cruel about my authenticity. Like, I don't give a single fuck what anybody thinks about how I look, how I dress, whether I'm overdressed or underdressed. I think that's how I've gotten over the hump of like the social media visage, because I'm on social media all the time without makeup on, looking like a trash panda. Just a trash. And like, I think that that's what really reads to other people in a positive way. Like it doesn't, I think it's so hard for people to just get past that part of it, like the social media like facade, like everything has to be perfect. That if there's just 2 or 3 of us that are just out there just completely unapologetic about who we are, and what we want in our relationships, I think it's just going to be so much more helpful in making those adult friendships. I think that's why me and my friend connected, because I was just like, I don't give a single fuck. And she's like, yes, I want to be like that.
I would love to be like that. I definitely feel like maybe I judge myself more than other people judge me. And I always have like those negative thoughts in my head, like, well, they're not going to like me because I'm not blonde, or they're not going to like me because I don't drive the Tahoe. I drive a 4Runner. They're not going to like me because I dress up for drop off because I have to go to work. And it's like the girls that do know me know that I leave straight to go to work. So I don't feel quite so bad, but it's like, I don't know. It's just,
it's hard. You're in your own head. We
Yes.
get in our own head. I am constantly having to like verbally, as soon as I get in my head, it's so bad, you guys. When I get in my head, I'm just like, I said this, they hate me, I'm not going to make any friends, everybody's going to be talking shit about me. I say out loud, like, shut the fuck up. Literally nobody is thinking about what you just said. You're not that important that they're repeating everything that you just said. They love you. Why wouldn't they love you?
Because
You know
I
what I'm
always
saying?
I would say
I'm lying
like
to myself. I don't know.
no, like I would say like attracts like. Like birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
So if you live in your like unapologetic authenticity, it's like someone, you never know, maybe someone has like the most beautiful outside. And it's like, God, I just really wish I didn't have to be so fake. I just wish I had something new. Like, and then you could give that like genuineness to someone who's maybe seeking it as well. But is
attracts it.
How do you find those people? Like even like
being yourself.
even starting
You
up
don't
those
have to. That's the
conversations
best
is like
part.
difficult.
No, you don't have to. That's the best part. I think that you just need, because you're an introvert. I have a friend who's also an introvert. She's an introverted extrovert. So she can go so long being an extrovert, and then her battery goes all the way down.
Yes.
And then there is no more. And like being one-on-one, I have to carry the conversation, and I don't mind. I'm fine with it. I talk too fucking much anyways. And she's happy for it. You know what I'm saying? I think somebody's going to be like, you just need somebody maybe to force their friendship on you. You just need to be unapologetically authentic so that you can attract that person. I've had that happen to me where I was just like, oh, cool. And like 2 weeks later, I was like, how the fuck are we friends right now? And she was like, I forced my friendship upon you. You cannot get rid of me. And I was like, all right, cool.
I really think I need somebody like that. That is very much just like, okay, we're going to be friends, because I'm socially awkward. I am an introvert. I can be extroverted. I've had to be, but I am very awkward in one-on-one situations. And I don't know, I feel like Ricky Bobby, like, I don't know what to do with my hands, you know? It's like,
what do I do with my hands?
I really don't know how to start conversations. And then I feel like, okay, am I talking about myself too much? Am I not asking them the right questions? And it's like, I don't know how to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody that I haven't known since I was 11 years old.
You need someone to ask, do you want to swim in my lane?
I do.
You do.
Do you want to be mermaid?
Yeah. Somebody needs to invite you over to play mermaids.
Yes. Yeah. That's
I invited Sarah over to do arts and crafts. Now we do arts and crafts.
I love arts and
crafts.
crafts.
I know. Who doesn't?
If a mom invited me over to do arts and crafts, I'd be like, let's do this. Like I would be 100% there.
Or why don't you like organize like an arts and crafts night with like all the few moms
potential friends.
The potential, you get to choose. you're like secretly interviewing all of them. Right. And then you're just going to be like, okay, this one makes the cut. This
Yeah.
one doesn't. First
She's
of all,
gonna find them.
in your group of people you could possibly invite over, is there anyone you actually were like, do I even want to be friends with them? I say there's a well, but when you say there's a pothole with like
With
old
rainwater,
rainwater in it, so it's like, do you even want to be friends? Do you even want to be friends with these people? Are they worthy of your friendship?
So the ones that I was trying to be friends with since my oldest was in kindergarten, I feel like because I have tried and I've put myself out there and it hasn't been reciprocated, those would not be the women I would invite over. Like, I'm okay in a group setting if we all want to get together and do something, but as far as for me, they've shown their true colors where I was just like, hey, your husband's gone for the weekend at a bachelor party and a barbecue thing. Like, let me bring over pizza. But then, like, when I'm like, oh, my husband's in Illinois for 10 days, not one of them reached out and were like, hey, let's get together since you're home by yourself. And like, nothing. So it's like, I've already like written that type of, or those people off as far as having a true, sincere friendship with them that goes deeper than just the group setting because of our kids being friends. I want the friend that's like, the klutz that, is, laughs when I fall down because I broke my foot tripping over my own retaining wall, changing a car.
I have 2 broken feet just from stepping down or stepping backwards, Casey. So relatable. Okay.
I'm a klutz. My kids are klutzes. There was a point in time where I was literally in the urgent care 3 weeks in a row. And I'm like, they're just going to put a reserved for Casey sign on the door because my kids are klutzes just like I am. Like, my daughter broke her elbow tripping over her own shoelaces.
Yeah, been there.
Like, luckily I haven't had a broken bone since I broke my foot, but of course I broke my foot right before my husband left and it was Halloween and it was like a whole thing. But I'm like really changing car seats. I tripped over a retaining wall and I was sober. And it's like, I just want a mom that's kind of just, I'm a goofball. I'm a weirdo and I don't want to like have to put on a pretend facade to have people like me. I want somebody just to like come in and like me for me.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find. You should go to a book club or like find somebody who's like in something that you have like a similar interest in. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's other options. There's other opportunities. When I had kids, I made all of my friends through work, all of them.
Yeah.
Because everybody else was somebody's mom of a kid that was friends with my kid. And they were like, they're so much more adulty than I was. I've never really been an adulty adult. Like, don't get me wrong. We are 40 wonderful up in this room, right? Are you 41 yet?
I just turned 41 last week.
We are all 41 in this room. 40 wonderful.
40s.
Yeah.
Yes, in it. And we're killing it. But all of my closest friends have always been younger than me, and I don't even know how that works. I think it's just my energy, and I feel like every friend I've ever made outside of high school has always been 27, 28, 29 in that age group, and then they just kind of get older. And look at me as like a big sister or something like that. But like, I've always like resonated with people that I work with for some reason. And that's always where my friends have come from. Now I work from home and it's been so much harder. So much harder. Like, when I first moved here, I went to a festival here and it was like, I had just been here for like 2 weeks and I was so excited to be here because like I've always wanted to live here. I wanted to make friends with everybody. And the lady who was like working the ticket booth for the festival was like, "You're new." Like, she was so excited and she gave me her phone number. And then she didn't want to, I was like texted her like 3 times and she didn't want to vibe. And you know what? I might've came off too strong, but that's fine. But she was my age. And that's where I feel like I've kind of gotten it wrong. Like, whenever I make friends with women who are like in our age group, I don't vibe with them because they didn't come from a similar background as we come from. Such a unique place, such a unique background that I think it really makes it a little bit harder. So it's like grew up in cities, classes of 600 to 6,000, And so like the younger generation, I feel like the younger millennials, like we're the zennials.
Mm-hmm.
We're the zennials. So like we're so close to Gen Xers that we feel like left out by that older crowd, like our older siblings are just like assholes, quite frankly. Gen X, all of them jerks. But like the younger millennials, we're sort of like their big sisters. So I always feel like I click with those younger millennials, and I've always only made my friends through work. So it's been so much harder not working in person that it's like when I make a friend, I'm like, stay right here.
And I think some of the takeaways that I'm hearing for you, Casey, is like maybe you don't pull again, now that I know it's not a deep well of like kids around for parents, even if you want to do or don't want to be friends with them. Like maybe you look outside of the mom group for friendship.
Yeah.
Even if they're younger, or because like Dr. Bestie's like 8 or 9 years younger than me, so it's just like, just because I'm a child-free woman, my friends tend to trend younger because they don't have kids, so it's just kind of like that. So I was just like, I would say look in other places like a book club where you have like attracts you're like-minded people, and whether like Jaki was saying, hey, go find someone who's older, but you could also find someone who's younger, and then you could be that spoke in the wheel for like the like not mentorship but like camaraderie. And
no really be
Yeah.
a mentor for real. I encourage you
I don't
to
know if I'm
find
the
a
greatest
mom.
example though.
It's okay,
No,
but your realness,
hold
authentic.
on, you know me. Am I a good example for anybody other than here? Don't do this.
I have a crazy, my youngest she is me like times a million with her craziness.
Fun.
No, not at all. Like
I know,
she
right?
is fiercely independent, and she does what she wants to do on her own time. And me telling her to get ready for school in the morning is a battle. And it's even like my husband's like, why doesn't she have a routine? I'm like, she does, she just doesn't want to follow it. Like they know what they're supposed to do. My 12-year-old, she's like 98% like perfect. Like she is very much like my husband's child, very laid back, very, very go with the flow. But Hensley is, I mean, she's the second born. She's Evil Knievel in a little girl's body. And
Yeah.
that's exactly how I was. So, I mean, I am getting
Oh.
it back like tenfold of how I treated, like how I grew up with my mom. Like, but
do you call your mom and apologize like I do?
No.
Oh, no. My daughter used to say, I don't know, like 3 sentences to me in the morning, and I would pick up the phone and I would be like, hi, I'm just calling to say I'm sorry. And also thank you for letting me live through my teen years.
Well, see, like I was never like, so my older sister is only a year and a half older than me. So I learned what not to do very quickly from my sister's example. So I wasn't a problem child in that aspect. Like, yes, I marched to the beat of my own drum and I kind of did my own thing, but I was never disrespectful to my parents. I can probably count on one hand how many times I got grounded between 6th grade and senior in high school. Like my curfew was midnight. I would like the door would unlock at like 11:59 and 59 seconds, but I never missed curfew because the one time my sister did, she was grounded for 3 months. And back when we were younger,
listen,
no TV, no radio, no books. She literally got to sit in our room and do nothing but homework. What is that one?
We're moving into the spellbound portion
What
of
is
it.
that one though?
So do you have any like takeaway? Like what did you learn from the podcast today, Casey?
Just maybe expanding my horizons for what to look for and how to look for it. Like just, I don't know, like maybe I really, really and truly like the book idea, like book club.
And there's so many, there's digital book clubs that you can join. And then sometimes they meet in person, sometimes they do meetups, but you guys can do like digital reads and like Zooms like we're doing now. And it's such a fun way to meet other women who are interested in exactly what you're interested in.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, my husband and I also both just started jujitsu. And although our kids have been in it for forever, like that's opening up a new like group of grownups that we have not really had interactions with.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of been fun because we've kind of met some people, even though we've been at the same jujitsu gym for 9 years since my oldest one started when she was 3.5.
Yeah.
So we've been around them, but it's like we're kind of like the OGs of the group. So like
Yeah.
all of these new parents are in there, and we're like, oh, okay, so now we get to actually meet these people. So maybe I'll kind of look in that
There's
area.
hope. The older your kids get, the more friends you're gonna start making. When they're little, it's hard.
Yeah.
When they're little, it's hard.
And I would say my takeaways, sometimes it's okay if you come on a little too strong
Yeah.
and forgive yourself for it because you just are so excited to have friends. So
outside of your home that you can talk to about home.
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
understands.
But
My
again, like you can find your friends like through activities and who knows what will happen, you know. You just
Yeah.
ask someone to play mermaids and then you find like attracts like.
Yeah.
my
Jackie?
my takeaway is literally be your unapologetic, authentic self. Be weird as fuck, and you will attract the weirdos that are your weirdos. I promise. And then my second thing is that I encourage older, moms, to be a mentor to the younger moms. I really, really do. They need us. It takes a fucking village. They need us. So I definitely encourage older moms who are, older millennials, zennials, to really befriend these moms that are in their late 20s, early 30s, so that they have somebody to rely on. They need big sisters that aren't their big sisters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They need us. So I definitely encourage all of the older women. I have to say, this jumped out. This is the 3 of Cups. It literally represents friendship.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
There's 3 of us.
What
yes.
what a great segue, Jackie. So I would say that was an excellent whiskey bent portion of the podcast of how to make friends, make genuine friends, be yourself, be your own kind of weird, and then you'll like attracts like, because you don't want to have a fake friend.
No, not
you don't want to go through that. We want real, genuine friendship. So let your freak flag fly, and then you could just like attract what is truly here, because here we are, known each other since 11 years old. We're still here. Look at us, and I know fabulous, and I know that
that's 30 years, you guys.
Oh my God, yeah.
I did the maths in my brainus.
And it's like we never know. I mean, we never knew that in like 6th grade it's going to happen, but it's like, like friendships are important, and cultivating them, time and space for them when someone
female friendships specifically are extremely important, especially in this era, in this economy. You know what I'm saying?
But now, what a great podcast, ladies. Thank you so much. But Jackie, like these cards are popping out. They are ready. They cannot wait.
They literally so much spirit, so much guidance. But that first one, I'm so excited about. I had to show you guys immediately in case it was like, what is that?
It's like
the 3 of Cups represents friendship, community, and happiness. And look at these 3 women. Look for our YouTube viewers. There are 3 women, 3 crows. Like they're bonded. They're together. There's something about when women get together, we are so much more powerful as a fucking group than we are individually. Rachel, what do you say? We get up the mountain together?
Or we don't get up there at all.
Or we don't get up there at all.
Exactly. So this is going to be Casey's reading for the podcast?
I mean, that friendship card just popped out. So initially it meant it to be Casey's reading, but like this might be for just all of the ladies that are just struggling with friendship out there.
Spirit,
it just feels like
today.
It feels like that's a common theme. My friend definitely Sarah has had issues making friends in the past. I've met so many women who are like, I just want to have that bond again that I had with my girlfriends from high school. So another card with 3 birds. So I don't know. This is really, I love this topic because I think it's so important. I think it's really relatable. I think there's so many of us who are going through that.
I think it's just not
we want a community. We
open.
want to bond. All of us do. We really all want to bond.
He afraid to admit that they're missing out on that and want that.
And it's hard to admit when you're lonely.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you want to say, I do get everything I want from my family, but you don't feel guilty for saying, but I want more. I want something a little different that like my husband can't give me. I want that camaraderie and friendship in a different
Yeah.
way, you know? Yeah.
I mean, like my husband and I, we've been together for 18 years. Like he knows me better than anybody. And I mean, I wouldn't trade that relationship for anything, but you do need people to lean on outside of your family that
Yes.
you can do. Let's get coffee and go to Target and walk around in our leggings and just check out the home decoration section or whatever. Like my husband doesn't like to walk around Target. I want a female friend that's like, let's go get Starbucks and walk around Target, or let's go to Home Goods. We don't have to buy anything, but let's just walk around, or you know what? Let's get coffee. Let's meet at the park and let our kids run feral and just sit there and drink some coffee and,
Let's day drink while the
relax.
kids play.
Exactly. Like come over to my house. Like we can drink mimosas or my favorite Bahama Mamas in the backyard while the kids run around and like destroy, whatever. And then you guys can leave and I'll clean up, which is fine. Like I want that like just laid back, just natural, effortless friendship with somebody. And yeah, I think a lot of women do. They just don't admit it out loud.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So let's talk about the cards that I just pulled.
Okay. We're now to the spellbound portion of the podcast.
Spellbounding. Yeah. Well, first the friendship card jumped out, which I think is so important. I think it's like a really good symbol that like spirit kind of is hearing what we're talking about. Like, okay, you need some guidance. I'm here for you. So the first one is the 8 of Cups. It's upside down. The 8 of Cups upside down sort of represents the fear of the unknown. Mm-hmm. So, which is really poignant as far as what we're talking about. Like, we just don't know how to do it. None of us do. And like, if all of us coming together and talking about it says anything, is that none of us do. We really just need to click. We want to click. We want to find the other parts of us. We want to find our community, as women. So the second one is the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is a messenger. It can signal the arrival of something. So like, really, it's like friendships are coming. You just need to be open and ready for them. Mm-hmm. I want to say this. Stop second guessing yourself. That's what I want to say.
Praise be Jesus. Like
snaps. Like I want to, in my gut, the messenger is saying, this is a cause for celebration. We all just stop second guessing yourself. That I just feel like I hear it over and over and over. And then the final card is literally the card that calls to me the most. Whenever I go anywhere, I see her, I feel her, she's like in my life. And that is the High Priestess card. And that has to do with intuition. Ooh. Intuition and listening to your inner voice. And so I'll read the description for you. To direct your will outward, one must also be able to understand one's internal world. The High Priestess is the guardian of the unconscious and beckons the traveler to the world within. So like, listen to your gut. You know who your community is when you meet them. Mm-hmm. Be your authentic self. Stop questioning yourself. We have so many blessings coming to us. We are a community. Just find those people who are your people. Like, connect with the people that are on your level by doing the things that you love, and you will attract them. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
That's the reading.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Excellent spellbounding, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
And thank you, Casey, for being our second special guest ever on Whiskey Bent Spellbound.
Thanks for having me.
I was so happy to have you because I do thrive on my female friendships. And again, you having more friends doesn't take anything away from me. Mm-hmm. And my friend's success and happiness is my success and happiness. Exactly. So it's like, I want your happiness is my happiness. I want you to have everything you want and like more friends,
It feels like my friends are your friends are my friends. Like, it's a mesh. It is a community. This is how we tie each other together as women. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and with that, we will sign off another fantastic and fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black.
Whitefield.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.